Welcome back. It's Dr. Jen Verboni, better known as DocJenFit, here with my bestie Moshkan. And we're going to show you a few techniques that you can use to help reduce or eliminate knee pain when you're doing something like a barbell back squat. So I'm going to show you different variations that can be really helpful to take that pressure off of the knee. Now, the first one, she's going to show you with the barbell. So coming into it, we're actually going to go into what's called a low bar back squat. So we're going to think of getting the bar more at her shoulder blades rather than on top in those upper traps. Because when we're up top on the upper traps, you tend to go a little bit more vertical and the knees have to go forward more. But when the bar is lower, we actually bend more. So we hinge from the hips, creating more of a hip dominant movement than knee dominant. So she's going to demonstrate coming into the bar. Good. Putting it nice and low right onto those shoulder blades, coming up. And she's going to go into her squat. And what she has to do is lean a little bit far forward, bend more into those glutes. So she gets a lot more stretch into those glutes, which becomes a more hip dominant and takes some pressure off of those knees. You can go ahead and re-rack. The issue with this one and what you can see here is that her arms have to be in so much rotation in order for you to get into that low bar back squat. So I'm going to say that's the limitation to that exercise. If you don't have good shoulder range of motion, you're probably not going to want to compensate and do that one. The other great thing, if you do have something like a safety bar, so one where the bar has that little contraption that you can hold onto it rather than holding onto the bar, this is a good modification for your shoulders. And also it helps to take pressure off of your back, off of your knees. It's a really good kind of starting position for anyone starting into barbell back squats, or if you are experiencing knee pain. So the next way that we really are focusing on reducing that knee pain and pressure is by feeling the feet. So a lot of times, especially if you're wearing running shoes when you are working out, please kick off your shoes, free your feet so you can actually feel them. The great thing about wearing Vivo barefoot shoes is that you already get to feel the ground because they are barefoot shoes. There's zero heel lift. So you're flat onto the ground and you can feel all portions of the ground. So these are really great, especially going to the gym and doing any kind of lifting. They're the shoes that I wear on a daily basis. And we actually have a code if you go into the description, or you can click the link and that's automatically going to give you a little discount code there. So please check out Vivo barefoot shoes. I love them. I live in them. I highly recommend them, especially if you're lifting. But if you don't have them yet, then just kick off your shoes, because here's what we want to do. So she's going to come back into the bar and you can go into your regular just squat, however you feel comfortable. What she's going to focus on here is that she is going to contract her feet. So she wants to feel the ball of her foot all the way over to her heel. And what this does is it creates a little arch into the feet. And so she has some compression into her foot. And then she's going to go into her squat, feeling the ground and having the big toe, ball of the foot, heel, and that compression into that arch. When we activate the feet and we squeeze the ground, we are leading up the chain all the way into our glutes. So that automatically is helping to activate the posterior chain so that we reduce some of the pressure on your quads and your knees. You can take a little break. That was great. So again, a quick and easy way to be able to kind of activate into your feet is to stay toward your ball of your foot and then roll around into your heel. You want to keep the ball of your foot down, keep the big toe down, and you should feel that activation right into your arch. No matter if you have a flat foot or a high arch, you're going to feel that contraction in the bottom of your feet. Now, if you know that you have restricted ankles and you don't have good ankle range of motion, a good way to kind of offset some of that pressure that might be coming into that knee on the squat is to lift your heels. So I'm going to grab something, and I don't know where they need to necessarily be for her. So she might have to. There we go. Great. So she's going to come into that bar. And this is the traditional high bar back squat. So her heels are up and she's going to go right into a squat, but it's going to keep her body a little bit more upright. And then she can press from the heels to really activate into the glutes as she comes up. We want to understand that the activation doesn't happen at the very top of the movement. We don't need to over squeeze at the top of a movement. It actually happens as we're lifting. So once she comes all the way down, she stretches into her glutes, into that full range of motion. She presses into the ground, and that is the activation into your glutes. So you feel a little bit more glutes along with quads, but hopefully taking some pressure off of that knee because you're not so restricted in that ankle. So this is a good way to kind of modify around that. And then go ahead and place it back. One last and final tip that I have if you are experiencing knee pain is to understand how we're using our breath and our control. A lot of times what happens when people are going into a back squat is that they kind of arch into their body. If you want to show that, it's probably looking a little better. Yeah. So if they want to arch into their body, or they stick their booty out to kind of lead the way into that squat. Okay. And it kind of throws off our pressure here. We need this inner core pressure in order to activate good around those hips and the hamstrings and quads, so that again, we take pressure off of the knees. So going into the squat, when she comes back to set up here, what we want to feel is a breath around this rib cage. So she's going to breathe in here, and you can either breathe in and just squeeze and contract into that core, or one of my favorite ways is to breathe in as you come down. So she's going to breathe in and open, think of opening, lengthening the pelvic floor. And then as she comes up, she's going to blow that pressure out all the way up. And this is going to help to keep that rib cage pelvis alignment. She opens and then breathe out, and everything comes and it stacks on top of each other. This is going to get that inner core contracting. So when we get this inner core, then we start to wrap around the outer core. We get the hips moving a little bit better. And again, it helps to reduce that pressure that we might have going at the knee when we have so much more trunk stability and support throughout the movement. Very nice, Mushkan. Thanks for showing us how it's done. Now, if you have any more questions, drop them below in the comments. Don't forget, if you love what you're learning, I have so much more in stock for you. So hit that subscribe button, check out the other videos I've done in the past, and leave any comments of any suggestions that you have for videos in the future. And I can't wait to help you feel incredible and amazing within your body.